I want to begin by acknowledging all the Clackamas County residents and so many more people statewide who have given their time and their resources to help us begin to recover from these devastating wildfires. The outpouring of support and love has touched all of us on the commission deeply, and probably all of you. I have visited the areas damaged by these fires several times now, and I've seen firsthand just how much people are hurting. With all the assessment work we've been doing, we can now report a total of 61 homes were damaged or destroyed in these fires, and 214 other buildings were damaged and destroyed. I am very proud to announce that we have extended the Fire Resource Center in Molalla. It will stay open all next week from 9 to 6 p.m. each day through Friday, October 16th. That's also the last day you can submit a right to entry form to obtain free removal of your household hazardous material. Nancy Bush, our county's Director of Disaster Management, will have more details on these topics in a moment. We are committed to making sure we can help you in your recovery. The Fire Resource Center in Molalla is an important step. If your property was damaged, it's important that you visit the Resource Center early. Thank you, and back to you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Commissioner. Nancy Bush is Clackamas County's Disaster Management Director. She will talk about the Fire Resource Center and ongoing recovery efforts. Nancy?
Thank you, Kimberly, and good afternoon, everyone. So we're now concentrating on helping you rebuild after the devastating fires. So first, we want you to be safe. Please treat all of the ash and debris as hazardous material. It can be dangerous to you, your family, and to your pets. It is only to be cleaned by professionals with proper training and protective equipment who understand the regulations for safety for disposing of it. Your insurance coverage is your first course of action. Contact your agent as soon as possible to understand what's covered in your homeowner's insurance policy and hear their guidance on cleanup and recovery. Federal disaster assistance programs will want to know that you have resolved that line of aid first before you apply for federal aid. And tonight, I really want to emphasize to you that you need to act immediately to have your household hazardous debris removed for free. The deadline to submit a right of entry form to the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality is on Friday, October 16th, which is just a week from tomorrow. We've placed that form online at clackamas.us/wildfires, along with more information to help you fill it out, and you can submit it online. It is crucial to submit this form as soon as possible, or you could jeopardize your cleanup. Again, there's no cost to you. The cleanup is funded through the state of Oregon, FEMA, and the EPA. It's also important to remember that this cleanup of household hazardous waste and fire debris is required before you can rebuild from the fires. There are several things that constitute hazardous waste, and some of the more common items are car batteries, antifreeze, solvents, propane tanks, paint, pesticides, and fertilizers. Cleanup crews will also identify and dispose of bulk asbestos material when possible. The next step after that is the removal of ash and debris. Crews are trained to remove burned out structures, which might include the building's foundation. Please understand that you must do this before you can begin rebuilding, and we're here to help you. As Commissioner Bernard told you, we're extending the time of our Fire Resource Center in Molalla, and it will remain open until 6 p.m. on Friday, October 16th, which is the last day the DEQ right of entry form can be submitted. The address of the Fire Resource Center in Molalla is 412 South Swigel Avenue, Moala, Oregon. It is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday this week and Monday through Friday next week, and it is closed on Sunday. Lastly, before we hear more details on the changes we're making to help you rebuild, let me remind you that you must still protect ourselves and each other from the coronavirus. Please continue to wear face coverings, maintain at least 6 feet of separation, and wash your hands often. Medical experts say these simple steps are making a significant difference in keeping COVID at bay. It is also flu season, so please consider getting your annual flu shot. It protects you and others, and it's important now more than ever. Thank you, and Kimberly, back to you.
Thank you, Nancy. Now let me introduce Evan Polk, Clackamas County's Sustainability Supervisor, who will provide us on an update on the hazardous materials and debris cleanup. Evan?
Thanks, Kimberly. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we would really like your help in reaching out to property owners in areas impacted by the wildfires. We know many property owners haven't been able to return to their homes yet, and the contact information that we have is sparse. It doesn't usually contain mobile phone numbers. So we could use the community's help in reaching out to friends, family, neighbors, to let them know about the program for free household hazardous waste cleanup, which, as Nancy said, is very time sensitive. The state has given us a deadline for people to sign up by Friday, October 16th, 1 week from tomorrow. If you know of someone who should be filling out this right of entry form, please direct them to submit it as soon as possible. It will allow cleanup crews access to their property for the identification and removal of household hazardous waste for safe disposal. We're also asking all community members with damage on their property to complete the individual damage report form on the same webpage, clackamas.us/wildfires. Thank you. Kimberly?
All right, thank you, Evan. Now I'd like to introduce Greg O'Reilly with FEMA to bring us up to date on how FEMA is helping fire victims. Greg?
Sure. Thank you, Kimberly. Good evening, everyone. Chairman Bernard, Nancy, Evan. I'm Greg O'Reilly of FEMA External Affairs. As an intergovernmental specialist, I'm assigned to support elected officials at the local, county, and state levels as Oregon recovers from the wildfires. Thank you to our county partners for organizing this weekly community meeting. Since participating on this call 2 weeks ago when I was working virtually from Arizona, FEMA, together with our partners throughout the state and in Clackamas County, have made positive progress in our service to the people of Oregon. We are focused on our mission to provide federal support at the state, local levels to help residents of Oregon to recover from the damage caused by the wildfires. While the COVID environment and our strict federal COVID safety guidelines present a certain set of challenges, it is certainly not hindering FEMA's ability to execute its mission to help Oregon recover. FEMA is currently assisting both virtually as well as FEMA's traditional proactive boots on the ground approach. As of October 7th, FEMA has 383 personnel deployed in person and virtually to Oregon. Over the last few weeks, FEMA has conducted an individual assistance blitz campaign to encourage survivors to apply for FEMA assistance. FEMA is using innovative as well as traditional methods to reach all wildfire survivors, anyone impacted by the disaster. FEMA's state, local, tribal, private sector, and academic partners are sharing information to amplify FEMA's disaster assistance messages with their audiences. As of this morning, 8,221 individuals have registered with FEMA. Clackamas County has, as of yesterday, has 934 registrations. FEMA has obligated more than 18.4 million thus far in program assistance and is processing 13 active requests for additional federal resources. Federal funding is available to state, tribal, and eligible local governments and certain nonprofits, private nonprofit organizations on a cost-sharing basis for emergency protective measures, including congregate and non-congregate sheltering and direct federal assistance. We encourage all those impacted by the disaster to register with FEMA, to be and stay informed, and to continue to stay safe. FEMA disaster survivor assistance teams and specialists are engaging directly with survivors to help them understand available programs, answer questions, and apply for assistance. Disaster assistance crews are conducting targeted virtual outreach and distributing disaster information to non-congregate shelters, faith community-based organizations, and private sector and in designated counties. FEMA DSA crews are providing registration intake at designated sites. Operational leads have coordinated with county emergency managers and DSA to identify and establish multi-agency resource centers, also known as MARCs, M-A-R-C. For the benefit of all those participating in this meeting, we have several FEMA subject matter experts here today to address FEMA program-related questions in the Q&A. We have Division Supervisor Sean Crawford, DSA Task Force Leader Redora Stillwagon, Individual Assistance Expert Dean Carney, Public Assistance Liaison Trevor Jordan, and Hazard Mitigation Specialist Jerry Fry. Remember, FEMA is a short, mid, and long-term partner. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon, and FEMA is committed to the citizens of Clackamas County for the long haul. Back to you, Kimberly.
Thanks so much, Greg. I'd like to now introduce Dan Johnson, who is the Director of Clackamas County's Department of Transportation and Development, and he'll share some news on building permits. Dan?
Thank you, Kimberly, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want you to know that the county's development services are working hard to help you recover from the wildfires. Please visit a new addition to our website, linked from the wildfire page, that walks you through the 6 steps of recovery. The first steps, as we've been emphasizing all along, is clearing debris safely and professionally. We urge you to study the 6 steps in some detail, and let me repeat, we will be with you every step of the way. Here are some resources that are available for you. To support immediate recovery, if you need to take a minor driveway repair or need to work in the right-of-way to remove a tree, we can waive the fees related to these permits. If you have lost your primary residence in the fires, there are services especially for you. We have staff that will serve as liaisons and as a primary point of contact to support and assist you in completing applications, plan review, permitting, and construction. If your home is less than 2 years old and we have the approved plans in our office, we will make these available at no cost. And you want to use the same exact plans and building footprint for rebuilding, we can waive plan review fees. We'll be providing rapid plan review for all primary residences lost in the wildfires. Your application we place in the front of the queue and expedited throughout the process. We are continuing to look for other options and programs to provide support. So check the wildfire website often for updates. Thank you. Kimberly?
Thanks so much, Dan. So with all this going on, the detail of rebuilding amid a pandemic and the stress of just going through a wildfire, it's not surprising that many of us are dealing with a heightened stress or more. And so to talk to us about managing stress as well as our well-being, please welcome Stephanie Jefferson in the county's Behavioral Health Division. Stephanie? I believe you're muted, Stephanie.
There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you, Kimberly. With the recent wildfires and the concern about COVID have had a huge impact on all of us. Let me reassure you, your feelings are normal in the wake of these disasters. You can take action to try managing your stress. Engage in positive, distracting activities like reading, watching a favorite movie, or working on a hobby. Get enough rest and eat healthy meals. Try to maintain a regular schedule. Focus on something practical you can do right now to make something better. Take time during your day to calm yourself using relaxation exercises, understanding that using drugs and alcohol can be an unhelpful way to cope, particularly for anyone with pre-existing substance use problems. Try not to withdraw from others. Everybody needs support, and reaching out to a friend right now could be helpful to both of you. Please don't ever hesitate to call for support. Our crisis and support line is available 24/7 at 503-655-8585. Mental health support is also available from our urgent mental health walk-in clinic. We know these are trying times, and we want you to know we are here for you and you're not alone. Thank you. Kimberly?
Okay, thank you for that, Stephanie. We will now take your questions. And so if you can use you have multiple options. You can use the Zoom chat or the raise your hand feature on Zoom. You can also write your questions and comments on our Facebook live stream. And we have one final option. You can also send us an email at eocpio@clackamas.us. We'll try to get all the questions answered as we possibly can. So again, on the screen are your 4 options for the question on how to comment. So again, use your raise your hand feature or your comments in chat. And let me check and see if we have any coming to us from Facebook. As we're waiting for questions to come in, I would like to maybe use this opportunity for FEMA to provide more detail on specifically what you're doing in the community to help the people who've been affected by the wildfires and what the deadline is for FEMA registration.
Kimberly, this is Greg. I would like to direct that to first to Rodora, or our DSA team lead.
Yes. The deadline for registration is November 16th. And would you repeat the beginning of the question?
Yeah, if you could provide a little more details to our listeners on what exactly FEMA is doing to help our residents during this difficult time.
Yes, we're disaster service assistants, and normally we would be going door to door with our outreach, but because of the COVID environment, we're limited to fixed sites. And we're able to take the registration and do inquiries and updates. If they have a question about their application, whether it's denial, why were they referred to SBA, any question, we can open their case file, look it over, and move them in the right direction. And updates, sometimes there's not a good phone number, or they decided instead of a check in the mail, they want it to go ETF to the bank, so we can make some updates. And that's basically what we're out there doing. We don't have the capability to take documents or anything like that. So that's the basic DSA program.
Okay, thank you very much, Rodora. maybe we can, that segues nicely into individual assistance. So Dean, if you can address and explain some of what your involvement in the individual assistance.
Sure thing. FEMA's individual assistance program helps individuals with financial assistance. This comes in the form of a grant. This is not paid back, and it can be used for temporary rental assistance, for repair to their home, to money towards replacement of a home, for any kind of uninsured losses that they had from the wildfires. As of right now, I believe 900 and some 934 house Clackamas County have registered for. At this point, most of the money that's going out is going to be for rental assistance, for personal property, and once the individuals are contacted by an inspector, the money for home repair or money towards home replacement can go out. The maximum that FEMA can pay is $35,500 towards a new home or repair of the home to owners. We also do lodging expense reimbursement. If a family had to stay in a hotel after the fire, we can help with reimbursement of that, and up until the time they receive the rental assistance to be able to rent a new place till they can get back in their homes. We can also assist with personal property, transportation, those type of things. Vehicles on income is the rental assistance and home repair.
Great, thank you. There's a lot of deadlines out here, and I just want to clarify something, and this is more of a question. We have the deadline of October 16th for people to sign right of entry permits to allow contractors on their property to remove household hazardous waste. Is that the same deadline for FEMA registration, or is the FEMA registration in November?
November 16th for the deadline for registration, 2 different dates.
Right. Okay. So thanks for clarifying that. So everybody who's listening, October 16th to fill out the right of entry form to take advantage of the free hazardous waste removal that's being funded by FEMA, the EPA, as well as the state of Oregon, October 16th. November 16th is your deadline for other assistance from FEMA. Okay. A lot going on. So here's another question that people might have is, it again relates to FEMA. And it's, great that 900 and some people have taken advantage of this assistance. So if you registered with FEMA and you got a letter declining that support, what is somebody's next steps if they get that letter?
Sure. The first thing is to read the letter all the way through. It usually is saying we need more information. There's very rare that it will just say you're denied, end of story. Usually it'll say we are unable to pay you at this time because, and it's, if you read
Rodor, you want to take that? Dean's stuck.
Oh,
there he is.
Is he back on? It's a lot of times it says that we need additional documentation. It could be ID verification. It could be ownership of the property, a lease rental. The fact that you didn't fill out an SBA application if you were referred to them. It can be numerous things. So they need to read it and see what they're asking. And that's where when they come into us and we do an inquiry, we can see what they need to do if they're not sure and they don't understand the letter. And that's how we can assist them. And And like the IA department, they have the capability to take documents that they can provide for them, and they're able to fax them or scan them into the system, whereas we aren't. So that's the difference. But we need, we're there to help with any questions and move them in the right direction.
All right, thank you. So what I'm hearing is if you get that letter in the mail declining, read the letter all the way through and reach back out.
Right, especially if it says that they need more documents, or, there is an appeal process also. You can come in and talk to us about that. You can go to the center, but I also want to make everybody aware that the 1-800 number, 621-3362, is the go-to number. And we won't be here physically, but some of this can transition. Housing goes up to 18 months. When we're not here physically, you call that 800 number. They're the experts that they can help you. So always, when in doubt, refer them to that 1-800 number.
Okay, thank you for that. We have some questions that are coming in through email that I would like to touch on. This question is, and I think I'm just going to throw this out to the panel. The question reads, can someone help us reach the property owners that's right next to ours to find out about tree removal? It's several acres of burned, and some still reignite with flames. And these trees pose a hazard to fall on our home. And we're still unable to occupy our home, but once it's fixed and cleaned up. These trees would pose a serious risk.
I'll take a stab at that. I can't really provide a definitive answer, but I would say that it would probably be good for a one-on-one conversation with this property owner, so we can try to identify the quickest route to a solution for them and see if there are some resources. So they could reach out to us via email at firecleanup@clackamas.us.
And that's kind of what I was trying to.
Okay, and then, but what if they can't get a hold of the property owner? What if the property owner's not there and they're unreachable? Is that something that we could, that county has resources to try to find the property owner?
That may be the case if the person who's asking you this question can reach out to us and tell us who they are and where they are, then we can know who their neighbor is, and we might have a way of reaching them. Can't promise, but we can try some things.
Well, we have their email address, so we'll definitely be following up after this meeting in the next few days. We have another question that came in. What types of debris removal services are there, and where can we find that?
Evan, I'm guessing
I should probably take that one again too. Sure. So I can speak to a little bit to some of the phases or the different types of debris removal that need to occur on a property and in what order in order to be safe. So the first thing that needs to happen is the removal of household hazardous waste. That will allow others to come onto the property and clean up other materials that could be ash and fire damaged structural debris. It could be vehicles. And then it's possible that when the state issues cleanup standards for us to follow, that we will even need to scrape a few inches of soil off of the property, and that would be the final phase of cleanup. And so you can imagine that just like you need multiple contractors to build a house, to clean up a property, there could be multiple contractors coming on in phases to help address that overall cleanup effort. And each of those contractors maybe, have different types of expertise, but they should all be ultimately certified and trained in the portion of the work that they're doing. Just to give you one example, if you need a contractor who is certified to address materials that may contain asbestos, which is very hazardous material and maybe a component in ash and debris, the state of Oregon maintains a list of certified contractors who can work with asbestos containing material. And that list is a great place to look for people who want to do the cleanup on their own steam. For those who are willing to wait, there will be more information and more guidance coming from the state around how to properly clean up and dispose of material. So we are encouraging patience for anyone that has fire debris on their property until more guidance and standards are in place. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Evan. And do you have anything to add on the deadlines that are coming up for this household hazardous waste removal?
Yeah, so just another reminder, October 16th is the date by which we need the right of entry forms for household hazardous waste. That gives us permission to have a contractor come onto your property to do the household hazardous waste cleanup, which again is a first phase and includes items that are mentioned here on the slides like car batteries and other chemicals, propane tanks, etc.
There's an option on the form, and if you could maybe talk through it a little bit. There's two options for right of entry forms that individuals can sign up for. Can you speak to that a little bit? What does each option mean?
Okay, sure. So when someone goes online to fill out the right of entry form, they'll see two choices. One choice is for household hazardous waste only. That means that if you complete that form, you are only granting permission for contractors who are looking for and cleaning up household hazardous waste items. That's it. That's all you're granting permission for. The other form allows you to grant permission for other possible phases of cleanup that may be available after household hazardous waste cleanup is done. We don't yet know if those forms of public assistance are going to be offered, but if they are, a property owner can opt into all of those resources with that right of entry form if they go ahead and fill it out now. I should also underscore that the household hazardous waste cleanup is completely free.
Great. Thanks, Evan. So it sounds like we will have more details to share later about any potential additional cleanup. So stand by, and doesn't hurt to be a little proactive right now if that next opportunity comes our way. We have another question, and actually maybe FEMA could help answer this one, or it could be a combination, and it relates to flooding. What are the chances of increased flooding post-fire, and what is the timeline for getting flood insurance?
Jerry, can you address that, please?
I certainly can. The possibility of increasing flood after a fire is great. It's probably going to last anywhere from 2 to 5 years until some of the vegetation starts coming back. We are currently reaching out, and we have sent emails to all participating communities through the state NFIP coordinator addressing flood after fire. And so they should be, and hopefully they will be, sharing all of that information with the powers that be, either from the county side or the local community side. So we're also doing an outreach. We're going to try to set up some webinars addressing flood after fire. And so when we do that, we're focusing in on real estate agents, insurance agents, and lenders, so that they can be aware of all of these things that are going on in flood after fire. And one thing to keep in mind, that mudflow, which is basically a river of mud, would be covered, is a covered peril under the flood insurance policy. So there's a 30-day wait on the activation of the flood policy. I go into an insurance office today. It takes me 30 days before that becomes effective, unless there's a mortgage associated with, or a new mortgage associated with the loan. So that's kind of the deadline or timeline.
Okay, thank you for that. Not many people think about it. It'll take 30 days to get that flood insurance active. And thanks for the clarification on the mud flows.
Yeah, and if you'd like, I can send to Greg some flood after fire. I've got it, brochures and stuff like that, and I can send them to Greg and let him forward those to you guys.
Great.
And then one last thing, my primary focus is to make sure that
I think you muted yourself there.
Okay, I'm unmuted. So I think the primary thing is when we're rebuilding and if you have designated special flood hazard areas, then we need to make sure, my job is to make sure to deal with the state and the local floodplain administrator, the local communities, to make sure that people rebuild in compliant fashion according to the local floodplain ordinances. So just so you know.
Great, thanks. We appreciate all the questions we're getting online and the ones through Facebook. We would like it, again, you could use Zoom, the Zoom chat, or the raise your hand feature, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll take questions for a few more minutes. Another one that came through us in written form is, what other types of assistance is available from voluntary organizations?
So I think.
Looks like, Greg, if you're trying to speak, you're muted as well. And
Right.
sorry, Nancy, didn't mean to cut you off.
Nancy wanted to address that, and I was going to also defer to for Redora for some assistance with that. Nancy?
Okay, well, of course, Red Cross, Salvation Army, the Baptist Church, all the local churches, all the different nationwide volunteer agencies, depending on, who comes in. It can change, but right now, Red Cross, Salvation Army, I know the Baptists are here, and I know there's a lot of local agencies that have stepped up, church groups and different things. And that's basically who are providing things, food banks and things like that. So that's ever changing in that people come on board. And then usually sometimes they'll form a volunteer group and you have just local people that want to sign up to just come in and help people clean debris, and maybe they need a ride somewhere in that. And usually that's through the local level of the community that's affected, that a lot of times they'll set up something like that. And that's usually one of the benefits. They know the area, they know the people. And so there's just a lot of little things that you don't think about if you've lost your car and you can't get somewhere and that. So that's basically how that works with the volunteer agencies.
Thank you. Nancy.
Yeah, just to add to that a little bit, we do have several, we call them community-based organizations, which Redora was also describing, that are here and are assisting us. And we have assistance from food to, helping out with legal aid and those types of things. The Resource Center is one of the places that is a good place to go in this next week to see some of those CDOs or get information about them and what they can do to help you. So we do have several in place. We do have someone here in the Emergency Operations Center that is taking a look at that and trying to match individuals. And I'm trying to get the email right now because I could not remember the email. So I will get the email and make sure I mention it and put it in the chat so we can get it up before we end here today.
Okay, great. Thank
Really,
you.
I'd like to address a couple of those issues that were raised. One being the flood risk. FEMA and the state public assistance currently have a team assessing the flood risk as a result of the burn scars as well. That's the Erosion Threat Assessment and Reduction team. Furthermore, with regard to debris removal, FEMA is supporting the state led debris removal task force. The task force is implementing Category B now, including the removal of household hazardous waste and materials to protect lives, public health, and safety. Category A was authorized on October 5th. The mission assignment for removal of hazardous waste has been obligated. State, FEMA, and EPA are currently developing an operations plan. State teams in 8 counties have collected 239 rights of entry as of October 6th. And the state is in the process of determining who will oversee that cleanup. It could be various agencies, including the Army Corps of Engineers, are likely technical assistance providers. The Federal Highway Administration has approved funds also for quick release emergency funds to repair infrastructure and damaged by the wildfires.
Thank you for that additional context, Greg. For those people who are worried about erosion in the areas affected by the wildfire, is there anything the county or others are doing to prevent erosion?
I guess I'll take that one. Yes, we have been out surveying county roads and adjacent areas that have steep slopes, and we have been taking proactive action to ensure the safety of our traveling public along our public roadways. We are not extending that service into private property, but if there are questions about services available, please direct them to the EOC or Department of Transportation and Development.
Great. And just real quick before turning it over to Evan, if you go to our website, if there is an issue with roads, it's really easy to let our roads department know of that by filling out a form on our website to connect with our roads teams. And I know that our road crews have been out even during the fire, sometimes in areas that were even closed, looking at the road system and ensuring that it's safe for travelers by the time the roads open, and they're continuing that work as well. Evan, do you have something to add to that?
Or just an observation about erosion control. While I can't add to anything that Dan said about what the county is offering, it's an opportunity to put in a plug for the county's Soil and Water Conservation District. They provide resources to private property owners to assist with those kinds of topics, and they can provide at a minimum some advice and technical assistance. But they also are funded by the USDA, which I believe is beginning to offer some resources for forest and farmland owners that are damaged by the fire. So would encourage folks dealing with questions of erosion or forestry or fire to maybe consider reaching out to the Soil and Water Conservation District here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Evan. So just to follow up to the question that Nancy made relating to assistance from voluntary organizations, if you have questions about that, you can and need help, you can email EOC evacuationfire@clackamas.us. So again, that is the letter E, the letter O, the letter C, and the words evacuationfire@clackamas.us. And we'll also get that in our Facebook stream as well if it's not already. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but there's a few things. You know, they always say you have to hear things several times before it sticks. So I just want to recap the deadlines that are coming up. October 16th is the last day that you can file for a right of entry agreement to allow contractors to access your property and remove household hazardous waste, or you can choose to have other waste removed if that service becomes available. October 16th is also the last day that the Fire Resource Center will be open in Molalla. So please come on down if you want to talk to people in person about your resources. However, a lot of the resources offered at the Fire Resource Center are also available online at clackamas.us/wildfires. The last day to apply for FEMA assistance is November 16th. And then also, if you're getting flood insurance, there is a 30-day waiting period in order for that flood insurance to take effect from the day you purchase it. So those are some deadlines. A lot of stuff is coming up and it's hard to keep track, but you could always go to our website at clackamas.us/wildfires for more information. And we also have links to FEMA's webpage as well. So that is pretty much all we have to share with you today. So tonight's meeting was recorded and it will be available on both our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel in a little while. So thank you for joining us tonight. We hope this information was helpful and please stay safe. Thank you.